So let's talk about when you are thinking about, let's say, doing a mailing address change. How do you actually make sure everything happens smoothly? Okay. So into this conversation, I want to share with you a few hacks, a few tips on how to have a smooth and successful mailing address change. So here's the abstract I want you to think about. The thing is, when you are actually considering a mailing address change, you got to really ask yourself. You got to ask yourself three important things: the geography, the timing, and most importantly, the regulations. So the geography means what? If you are moving from, let's say, New York to Georgia, you got to really understand that there are some regulations, not only federally when it comes to the USPS, but also when it comes to a statewide sort of regulations. Okay, so that's the first thing. So geography plays an important role when it comes to having a successful mailing address change. That's the first thing. The second thing is the timing. So you got to ask yourself, well, the thing is that if you are moving from New York to Georgia, you have to start a little early so that by the time you actually move for real to Georgia, you have everything done already. Okay, don't wait until the last minute to actually initiate a mailing address change, because you'll be really surprised that things are not really going to move as fast as you would like them to move rather. So this is important to really think about. Timing is it's a quintessential criteria. And the third item is that you got to really ask yourself, basically, when you think about having a successful mailing address change, what kind of vision do you have? Is it for family purposes? Are you moving your family, or are you doing this for business purposes? And this plays an important role because at the end of the day, you could just outsource the whole thing to a third party. Because if this is for a business, just outsource this to a service provider that can really help you really change your mailing address, as opposed to doing it yourself. But if this is for family reasons, maybe you can just do it yourself, unless you don't have time. If you don't have time, it's all about how you are navigating time versus money issues. If you have money but you don't have time, then outsource the whole thing. But if you have if it's the other way around, just do things yourself. Go to the USPS office and really start the paperwork there. Very important. So here's a preparation I want you to think about. So I want to share with you how to prepare for a smooth mailing address change, because the last thing you want is to actually you want to change your mailing address and people playing games with you, like the USPS playing some shenanigans with you, and you're like, you know what the F, right? So you want to really start things a little early, and you have to really understand why changing your mailing address is important. The thing is, when changing your mailing address is kind of essential to ensure that you continue receiving important correspondence and prevent potential identity theft due to sensitive information going to the wrong hands, right? That's what you want to avoid at all costs. So the thing here is that you have to really, you also have to legally update your address with various government agencies to maintain accurate records. So failure to do so might result, for instance, in missed bills, tax documents from the IRS or state tax authorities, or even voter information, which can really have long-term repercussions, right? So you do not want to have like something actually creating a long-term impacts on your life or your family's life, for that matter. So you want to facilitate a seamless transition to a new location without the worry of lost or misdirected email, or not email, mail. Okay, snail mail. So that's number one. You have to organize your documents and information. So before initiating an address change, you should actually gather all pertinent documents and create a very comprehensive checklist of organizations that you must inform. I mean, there are some institutions, some companies that you critically must inform. And this includes what? This includes organizations dealing with your personal identification, registration documents, and utility companies. So it's really important that you coordinate with the Postal Service for mail forwarding arrangements, and to also update the address on things like legal documents such as driver's license and passports. Those are legal documents, okay? So subscriptions and memberships should also be revised to reflect the new location. So basically the thing is, during this process, careful organization reduces the chance of overlooking essential updates, because that's what you do not want to have, because you want to have peace of mind during a hectic transition period. So what you want to do is you want to notify important parties in advance. And the thing is that, I mean, what important parties, like important parties depend on the kind of life setup you currently have. Because as you embark on the journey to your new home, to a new job, to a new geography, you want to notify important entities about the change of address well in advance. Like I said a little earlier, do not wait until the last minute to actually start telling people. Okay. So when you actually let people know in advance, this is kind of cool because this forward thinking approach actually will prevent any lapses in communication and ensure that all mail is appropriately rerouted to the new location. And that's what you want really in the first place. So you want to update your mailing address with the post office also. Okay. So you want to contact USPS office, and this can be done online, in person, or through the mail. So what happens here is that by submitting an official change of address form, you are authorizing the redirection of your mail, which helps mitigate the risk of losing important documents. You want to inform banks, insurance companies, and utility providers. I said this a little earlier, but that's important because these are companies that really help you create a sense of like a semblance of of normalcy in your life and your family's life. Okay, so I'm speaking here about banks, insurance companies, credit unions. So timely notification prevents actually a service disruption and avoid also security concerns arising from sensitive documents sent to an old address. Additionally, you want to contact utility providers, including electricity, gas, water, and internet, to either transfer services to the new address or terminate actually existing services and initiate new ones. If it's within the same state, no problem. But if you're going from one state to another, then your electricity company might be different, your gas company, and so is your water company, or even your internet company. Okay. So this preparation in terms of notifying them is kind of instrumental in keeping your affairs in order and guaranteeing a well-organized, stress-free move. One thing you want to do if you're trying to have a smooth and successful mailing address change is to really update your online accounts, okay? And that this will help you actually get things done a lot faster, okay? So when relocating, you must update your online accounts to reflect the new address, and so you can actually avoid delivery mishaps and billing issues. Okay, this is kind of important. And whether you're doing this for a business or for doing this for a personal affair or business affairs, this is important because having the accurate address associated with this account is kind of crucial. Okay, so you want to update every single online account. You want to update your mailing address for on e-commerce platforms, online shopping platforms such as Amazon, eBay, Etsy, and countless others require actually up-to-date personal information for shipping and billing purposes. So you need to log into each account and navigate to your address book or account settings where you can add your new address and set it as the default for future orders. Okay. So it's important because you want to make sure that purchases, at least in the future, arrive at the right doorstep so that you can eliminate the risk of items being sent to a previous address. You also want to modify also your address on subscription services. So subscription services are kind of less critical, but they are still important because what you want is you want to actually prevent some kind of identity theft. People actually playing games with your good name and your good address. Okay, your social in some cases. So you want to inform actually subscription services of address changes for things like magazines, meal kits, monthly box clubs, or streaming services. And the meal kits, this can be also for your pets. If you have pets, you want to think about that as well. So it's important to really think about that. And so you want to actually update your profile on those platforms so that you can prevent unnecessary disruptions to services that you subscribe to and enjoy, right? What I want to say here is that, adapting your accounts to your new living situation is kind of a small but significant step towards a seamless transition to your new home. Okay. So overall, keeping online accounts congruent with your current location eliminates future hassles and pays it really pays to actually get things done a lot early. So if you are trying to have a smooth and successful mailing address change, you want to really think about redirecting your mail because your mail actually is actually set up to go to an old location, and if that location has changed, then you really want to make sure that you have the up to date sort of info. Okay, so basically, what you want to do is you do not want to lose important documents or even delaying, like when it comes to receiving mail, right? So many postal services offer online forms to submit a change of address, simplifying the process. Okay, whether it is USPS or even in other countries, like other developed countries, you have a system in place where you can actually you can actually access an online form to submit a change of address so that you can actually maintain the flow of correspondence and prevent private information from landing in the wrong hands, which you do not want anyway. Okay, so you can try a lot of players. You can try ShipBob, you can try DHL, you can try FedEx, you can try Post Scan Mail, you can try US Mail. You can try a lot of mail forwarding services to kind of help you out. Okay, so you can have like a virtual mailbox, for instance, so you're able to view your mail online. You can request to have your physical mail delivered to the new address, ensuring actually continuity. Okay, so this is kind of cool because if you are relocating temporarily or still need to secure a permanent address, you are able to get things done a lot faster. Also, one thing you want to do here, and this is an important element, you want to contact individual senders to update your address, right? So in addition to utilizing postal and mail forwarding services, you want to contact senders directly to, let's say, update their records with the new address. So here I'm speaking here about what? Banks, credit cards. I said this before, but those are any other institutions that regularly send out mail. It's all about regularity. So if they actually send out regularly mail, then you want to be proactively communicating with them to make sure that you can avoid service interruption or even missed notifications. And you do not want to have that. So if you want to have a smooth and successful mailing address change, you also want to update your documents, okay? And this is one of those things where you have to do yourself, okay? So there are two sets of documents to really pay attention to. The thing is that when you actually move, one of the first tasks you should focus on is updating your documents, because then when you redirect the mail is great, but you also need to ensure that all legal and government records are up to date with the current residence. I'm not even talking about your FICO score. I'm just talking about like a regular contract, okay? So refrain from updating personal information to avoid complication when trying to access services or when required to provide proof of residency, okay? So for instance, driver's license and voter registration. So as a resident, you must take the initiative to update your driver's license after a move. So in most cases, there is actually a legal obligation to change the address within a specific time frame, which varies by state or country. In the states here, it's usually around 90 days, maximum 3 months. So failure to comply can result in fines or other penalties. Additionally, updating voter registration is kind of necessary for civic participation in our democracy, right? And it really ensures your ability to vote in local elections relevant to the new home residence and affects where individuals will be called to serve for jury duty. So this is a legal mandate. Okay. Also, you can think about healthcare providers and schools, for instance. So you must inform your healthcare provider of your new address to actually maintain accurate records and continue receiving necessary medical care. Okay. So transferring medical records to healthcare facilities closer to the new location might be required, especially when you have, let's say, when you have either if you have seniors in the house or you have, let's say, kids. Okay. So for those if you have children, schools also must be notified and records be transferred to facilitate the continuation of the child's education without disruption. So these procedures really help to maintain the accessibility and continuity of essential services fundamental to daily life after a move. Now, you might be thinking this is not really important, but it is critical because without them, you are going to have a disrupted sort of service, and you do not want to have that. This is an important, especially when you think about the having things from the long run. This is an important element to think about. Next, you want to notify your employer. So if you are thinking about having a smooth and successful mailing address change, you want to notify your employer. So basically, you want to update your mailing address for payroll and HR communications. Okay. So direct deposits and electronic payments may require address verification, and year-end tax documents like W-2s or 1099s sent to the wrong address can lead to privacy concerns and complications with tax filings. Okay. And moreover, HR-related communications, benefit updates, retirement plan information, and other employment-related notifications are typically sent to the recorded home address. So basically, if you update this information promptly, you can actually prevent any lapse in communication, and not only in the short run but also in the long run. You also want to update emergency contact information so that things are done pretty clearly. You know that things are happening now. Emergency contact information is kind of critical because when you have a family, you want your significant other to be informed if something were to happen to you, or if something were to happen to your kid or to your kids or to your loved one, to your family member. It can be your mother, your father. You want to have you want 911 to contact the right information. Okay, so updating emergency contact information is really important because employers among others use this data in case of an incident or urgent situation that requires reaching out to someone who can act on the employee's behalf. Okay, so emergency contacts ensure the right individuals are contacted without delay during unexpected circumstances. And so this is kind of cool because this proactive measure adds security to the employee and the employer, aligns with workplace preparedness protocols, and ensures personnel files are complete and current. And they have to be complete and current. In some cases, it is a state law to actually have that way. So it's important to think about it. So you also want to check and confirm. So you want to ensure that your employer communicates and records your address change correctly. So it's not just about handing over the new address. You must also follow up to confirm that the update has been made in all relevant systems and databases. Okay. Now, such confirmations actually avoid any potential oversight that could interrupt the flow of essential information or even payments. Can you imagine that payments associated with your employment, like direct deposits, for instance? And you want to also double check your address change request. In other words, you want to make sure that they are working on it or your employer has worked on it. Okay. So you want to make sure that your company has processed your request. And also verify your addresses with important contacts. So in addition to employer records, you want to ensure that any vendors, clients, or professional contacts needing your new address have it on file, right? This includes health insurance companies, banks, and any other institutions that may send correspondence related to your employment. And you want to follow up and confirm. So follow up and confirm, making sure that things are done properly. Ensure all addresses are successfully updated. Very important. You want to follow up with any delayed address changes. Like if some companies are not taking, if they're not taking it seriously and they're not doing what they're supposed to do, then you have to really let them know, hey, listen, this is not the right way to do it. Okay. You also want to stay organized after the change because this is about your life anyway. So once everything has been done, keep records of conversations and correspondences about address change. You never know. You want to keep track of any further mail forwarding needs. That way you have a clear idea of what really happens or what has happened in the past. And you also want to update address books and contact lists. That way you know what's really happening and what's not happening and why it's not happening, because the last thing you want is to actually be surprised. Okay, so when I speak about updating address books and contact lists, I'm speaking about revising business cards, digital signatures, and also personal address books. So updating contact information on professional networking sites such as LinkedIn, and in the records of professional associations there that you are part of is also an essential step. That way, you can help sustain the flow of networking opportunities and also prevent the loss of contact with peers or industry connections. Very important to look at it from a holistic point of view. And yeah, this is important to think about it. So here's a quote I hear. In today's conversation, I spoke to you about a few pro tips for a smooth and successful mailing address change. I gave you the abstract, the preparation, and the recap, and now the coda. Thank you so much. God bless you. I'll see you next time. Until then, remember, stay marvelous.